Love a list on this show, don't we? It is time for the NBA preview to continue, and these lists are often hotly debated. So whether it's in the chat or if you're watching later on YouTube, let me know if you disagree with any of these, because this was actually a bit of a tricky one to put together. Talk about maybe a talent level dropping in the CFL. That's not happening in the NBA. There are tons of talented players across this league, and so whittling it down to 10 was a little bit difficult to do. Coming in at number 10, it's Anthony Davis. I think because he's paired with LeBron, people forget how good this guy is. He stayed healthy all of last year and was just an absolute monster for the Los Angeles Lakers, and he's just, when he is comfortable shooting, he can do it all, and is just, I think people really do forget how good this guy is. So he comes in at 10. At number 9, it's Jalen Brunson. You get the proof of concept in the playoffs. He has turned into an absolute superstar. You get a slight bonus point for taking the discount to help the team win. But in terms of what he can do offensively, there are few in the league that can keep up with him. And he has shown the ability now to just have those games where it's like, hey, you know what? Don't feel like losing tonight. Let's not lose, hey? And just carry this team. He has made so many players around him better as well, and so that is why he gets onto this list at number 9. At 8, it's Steph Curry. Probably too low. For some, too low. For some, they would argue that it's too high, and this is a lifetime achievement thing. But if he was on a team that was being even a little bit more competitive, people are still talking about him as a 2 or 3 best player in the league. And I get it's the NBA. A whole lot of the team's competitiveness should be on you. That's not the case in Golden State. There is nothing more you could ask Steph Curry to do. Still the best shooter in the history of this sport. Still an amazing ball handler. Still amazing without the ball in his hands as well. His movement and the cuts really help open up the offense. Interesting to see what it looks like now that Klay Thompson is officially all the way gone. But Steph Curry is still one of the top 10 players in the league. He comes in at number 8. At 7, it's Joel Embiid. Last year leaves a bad taste because of the injuries and because you have a close to the season that looked a little bit rough for him. It gets a little bit better in the playoffs. It was a heck of a series against the New York Knicks in the first round. It was much must-watch TV. But now, presuming he is healthy, and presuming that he'll be ready to go, this is a gigantic season for him. This needs to be a year where he proves it's not just I can win MVP, it's I can win rounds in the postseason. I can make it to my first Eastern Conference Finals, and I can really be a guy who can carry a team in that way. There would be, I think, a lot more of a conversation around him if he hadn't had the game he had against Serbia at the Olympics, where he looked phenomenal against Nikola Jokic, who comes up a little bit later on here. But there needs to be, I think, that real big playoff performance for Joel Embiid. Guys who have had that before. At 6, Jason Tatum. He wasn't the best player on his team at the back part of the postseason. But overall, he's been the best player on that Celtics team for a really long time. He is not as well-rounded as maybe he thinks that he is. He settles for a three-point shot a little bit more than you would like, but defensively, he is great. As a ball handler, he is fantastic. He's great at attacking the rim. He is a good distributor as well. And you get the proof of concept with him going out and helping the Boston Celtics to a championship win. He has had some unbelievable playoff performances. There just isn't a whole lot this guy doesn't do. And so that's why he comes in the top 10. At 5, this one might be, controversial might be a bit of an overstatement. But Anthony Edwards. I have Anthony Edwards over Jason Tatum. I just feel like Edwards does a lot of the things that Tatum does. And he does a few of them better. He attacks the rim a little bit more aggressively. Defensively, he is legitimately one of the best defensive players in the league. And now it helps when you have Rudy Gobert behind you and a very good defensive team just in general. But Tatum also has a pretty good defensive team as well. And I just think Anthony Edwards, for as young as he is to already be as talented, I think he deserves to be in the top 5 in players in the NBA. At 4, it's Giannis. Speaking of y'all forgot about me, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's still the Greek freak. Injuries have slowed him up the last little bit. And so we have had, in very important viewings, we have either seen a limited version of him or just no version of him at all because injuries have kept him out. But still, when healthy, phenomenal defensive player, excellent offensive player as well, limited shooter, but the athletic gifts that he has and the work ethic that he has does outweigh any limitations. And I think this year, having a full year with Doc Rivers, having a full year with and training camp and all of that with Damian Lillard, and if there's any health to Chris Middleton at all, I think we get a reminder of how good Giannis is. At 3, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The fact that he has continued to take step after step and grown as a player in the ways that he has been very impressive to watch, and has just been it's been fun to watch. He can take over games, he can score, he can shoot. He's at least good enough defensively that he can guide you into the very good defensive players, and he makes everyone around him better offensively. He really is the total package. Coming in at 2, it is Luka Doncic, who is kind of just all of those things but bigger. And again, the proof of concept, we get his team to the NBA Finals. There were a couple of games in the Finals where you kind of question, like, what does this guy have? But offensively, he does things that no one else can do in a way that no one else can do them. You wish there was more of an effort defensively, and you wish that there was maybe a little bit more of a conditioning edge that he may have, but the gifts and the talents that he has are so clear. And there is a very real world where he is number 1 on this list very, very soon. But in at number 1, it is still Nikola Jokic. He's big, can play the game small, but can also play the game big. That there is no way to actually defend him. And even on a team that was limited by injuries and was kind of begged after a couple of long stretches in a row, still almost took his team to the Western Conference Finals. He is an unbelievable shooter. He is one of the best passers. He is the best passing big man, in the history of the sport, and just one of the better passers, regardless of size, in the history of this sport. Defensively, he can turn it on or off. But you talk about making players around you better. Very few have ever been as good as Nikola Jokic as doing that. And so that is why he comes in at number 1.